very, very quick introduction to you guys who've seen my 800 other seminars will be very bored by this because you've heard it before, but it's pretty short. But for the new people, about 25 years ago, I started an online community back in the days when the web was just text and blue links. And if you hit enough blue links, suddenly you might see a picture if you got lucky. And it was very exciting. Ooh, a picture. So we surfed the web for about, my partners and I, for about 3 months and thought, well, this is great. This is wonderful. There's so many great people here, so many great things we found, but we must be able to do something more interesting. So we created a community set in the future, 100 years in the future. And just to really shoot ourselves in the foot, we made it in 3D virtual reality, multi-user 3D virtual reality, which was completely impossible on slow modems back then. But we managed to pull it off. And so people would come they'd find this and they'd see this, and suddenly it wasn't text and blue links. It was this image that was animated and had music and was doing all sorts of wild stuff. And they went, whoa, what's this? And they'd go in and get very excited and tell their friends. So it grew like crazy. And what this has to do with AI is that we had 1,000 new people joining the community every day and flooding into our 100 chat rooms. And we couldn't keep up. We couldn't handle it. We couldn't be in 100 chat rooms simultaneously asking all the questions that newbies ask. So I'd heard about AI because I was kind of late into AI because AI was first developed in 1954 and this was 1998. And so I thought, well, maybe we could build a person, an AI person that could sit in all these chat rooms and answer these questions and be in the 100 chat rooms simultaneously answering thousands of questions. And it was kind of a bold idea, but it worked. And this was Mina up here. Yeah, you can see it. And she became really popular, really smart. She was funny and she learned and she actually helped grow the community to about 1.5 million members before we sold it. And to this day, she has our own radio show. She's still popular. That was just a bunch of the international press that we got at the time. There was a lot of it because we were kind of revolutionary. So tonight, we're going to be looking at AI as it relates to authors. How many people in this room are authors of one kind or another? Okay, good. A lot of you. All right. So just real quickly, I'm going to very, very briefly mention disruptive technologies because in 1436, when the printing press came out, it caused a lot of upset and fears, particularly amongst the church at that time, because they wanted a monopoly on knowledge. But it had a major positive impact on the Renaissance because it facilitated the creation and dissemination of new ideas. And then in 1822, a lot of other things happened in between that were disruptive, but the next major disruptive one was photography came along, and painters had been used to spending 2 to 3 months painting a portrait or painting a scene, a landscape, and suddenly a guy could come along with a box and go click and capture that moment that they'd spent 3 months trying to capture. So they got really, really upset, and they thought, well, we're out of a job. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think there are still painters, right? Yeah, okay. There's still a church, you're right. Yeah. And then Photoshop came out, which was to do with editing photos, and photographers got really upset until they tried it and saw what it could do for their work, and then they embraced it. And then the gramophone record came out and the radio, and this really upset the musicians union because they had a hold on the economics of live performances. TV sets came along and threatened the movie theaters. Cable TV threatened broadcast TV, streaming threatened cable TV, and the internet threatened information dispersal, ownership, and control. So there are all these disruptive technologies that come along and they disrupt some existing situation. But the interesting thing about them is they always work democratically because they allow increasing numbers of people to have access to those things which were previously very rare, expensive, or difficult to produce. And there are now some AI tools that for $99 will produce what it cost us a year ago, millions of dollars, literally, and would take 3 months to do. And now it's like a couple of hours. So disruptive technology challenges the status quo, forcing change. AI is a disruptive technology, arguably the most disruptive technology of the 21st century, and it's going to continue to be so. So the Harvard Business Review said AI won't replace humans, but humans with AI will replace humans without AI. So tonight we're going to take a look at how authors can use AI and how they shouldn't, because there are pluses and minuses, and there are caveats, which I'm going to go over. This is what we're going to cover. What's AI? What can AI tools do? Speed of AI progress, AI tools for writing, publishing, and marketing. And we're going to do an actual walkthrough of writing a book with AI. And we're going to look at, does AI replace real writers? What is AI? Artificial intelligence tools are computer programs that use machine learning to mimic the problem-solving and decision-making capabilities of the human mind. Fortunately, not the mind of a mouse. And what can AI do? Well, they can do in literally seconds things that could easily take a human being hours. Thus, they enable you to get far more done and far more quickly and easily. For example, 1 to 2 hours copywriting work done in seconds and 20 video titles. AI can do all sorts of stuff. It can do 2 hours, what would normally take 2 to 3 hours of image editing work takes 30 seconds now. And in terms of speed of progress, things that AI can do and the quality with which they can do them in 2023 reached what was predicted for 2030. So we're already ahead of the game, and it's accelerating ridiculously. I have to keep up with this stuff because I do a lot of seminars and I have to know what's going on. And every day there's something new. I mean, literally every day. So AI capabilities are advancing at an incredible rate. And AI really is the new gold rush, with Microsoft, Google, Amazon, NVIDIA, Apple, and others racing to be the dominant force in AI. And last year, AI became verifiably more accurate in medical diagnoses than medical doctors, which many people consider to be a good thing because, as the British Medical Journal said, medical doctors are the third highest cause of deaths in the US. And the Mayo Clinic said, and the Mayo Clinic said that 88% of second opinions result in a different diagnosis. So now AI is giving correct diagnosis the first time. So that's a step forward for us. In July 2022, an AI was asked to create a picture of a black cat on a couch. 4 months later, it was asked the same thing, and on the right is what it created. So you can see that it learns fast and can create well. And then in 2023, on the left was when it was asked to make a video of Will Smith eating spaghetti. And you see that it was pretty rough. And then 2024, you can see the quality improvement in video. It's stunning now what can be done in video. All right. So ChatGPT, how many of you here use ChatGPT for questions, answering questions, research? Okay. And how about writing copy or articles or stuff like that? All right. So I just want to tell you a couple of things that I ran into in the last couple of months, which really kind of raised my eyebrows because it really taught me, well, you'll see. So I was asking ChatGPT to write a program for me, an app, and I told it what I wanted, and it was writing the code. It was writing it like instantly, which is great because I tried to write stuff with code 25 years ago, and it took weeks. But now ChatGPT does it in a few seconds. So one of the things this app had to do, it had to go out of the ChatGPT environment and go into the Google environment, go into my Gmail and into my calendar and get some information, bring it back into the app and do some stuff with it. And so ChatGPT wrote the code to do this. And then it said, okay, try it. And I did, and it didn't work. And I went, oh no. Normally, what I'd have to do is go online, go to Google or forum or tech support and explain what I'm trying to do, explain what's happening, try and get a solution, come back, waste 2 to 3 hours, which I've done many times. But this time, as I was just about to go off and do that, the AI suddenly said, hey, I think I know what's going on here. I think I might know what's happening. If it's okay with you, I'd like to just check it out. And I said, okay. And in front of me, it started a communication with the AI at the Google end. They went back and forth for about 20, 30 seconds. Then my AI came back and said, yeah, we figured it out. Try it now. I went click, worked perfectly. So I realized that AI had reached the point of not needing commands or questions. It could think for itself and it could reason and it could reason intelligently. And that was the first time I'd seen that. I thought that's interesting. And then a couple of weeks later, I had to when I give these seminars, people usually want the slides. And so to give them the slides, I give them my email address. They send me an email and they get the slides. And my plan had been to get those email addresses, take them out, put them into a Google Sheets or a spreadsheet, and then into a mailing program and send updates on AI, things that were AI tips and things that were changing. But I got so busy, I hadn't done it. So I suddenly thought, well, I better get this done. So I went into Gmail and I said, find the emails that apply. And it found 1,200. And I went, oh no, I've got to go in one at a time, take about 1,200 emails and cut and paste them into a spreadsheet and then and I thought, oh my God, it's going to take days. I thought there's got to be a better way. So I asked ChatGPT. ChatGPT said, yeah, here's three better ways. And it did. It gave me three absolutely better ways. The second one I really liked. And I was about to go off and do it when ChatGPT said to me, hey, what if I wrote you a script that automated the whole thing for you? And I said, hell yeah. And and it did. 20 seconds later, I had this little script and 5 steps of how to apply it, how to implement it. I did the steps, took me about 30 seconds, and looked in my Google Sheets, and there were my 1,200 emails. So it was another example of AI starting to think for itself. So I found that interesting. Now, how many people here know about the big release that ChatGPT did last week?
I do.
Good, good. Yeah, okay. Yeah, they released a new version, and rather stupidly, they called it 4.0, whereas the previous version was 4.0. So it was very confusing to a lot of people. But anyway, 4.0, which actually stands for Omni, I think, for Omni, yeah, because it responds to not just text, but to voice and to video and to images and all sorts of stuff. It's faster, considerably faster. It can use the custom AI assistants that those of you who came to my seminar where I showed you some of the AI assistants I've been building. They were only available in the paid version of ChatGPT. Now they're available in this version, which is free. It's got ultra realistic voice and emotional responses. It's got 50 languages. It's a big upgrade. But the wild thing is it's free. And people say, well, what's going to happen to the paid version? Why should anyone buy the paid version if we can get it all for free? Well, there's a limitation, which is it's free up until the bandwidth runs out, and then it will just go back to the old version. Whereas the paid version, you've got 5 times more bandwidth. So it's just 5 times more usability in the paid version than in the free version. But in the free version, there's a lot of power now. Gemini, which was barred before Google's alternate to ChatGPT, it can now watch and summarize videos, which saves a lot of time if you're trying to, as I often do, find a particular piece of information somewhere in the middle of a 2-hour video. It can just go, and a few seconds later, it's got the transcript of and the summary of the video and the exact place where the information I need is. And it used to be also, if you wanted to put a book into ChatGPT and have it edit the whole book and proofread it and fix everything. And it had a lot of trouble with that amount of text. And so you had to do it in chapters, a few chapters at a time. Well, that's changed as well. Gemini can import 4,100 pages, which is all 7 Harry Potter books. So things are changing all the time. So what is a prompt? You'll hear the term prompts a lot in AI world. It's just basically this box here where you tell the AI what you want it to do, or you ask it a question. A useful prompt, and we've got about 3 more slides, then we're getting into the meat of the author stuff. But this actually does apply to authors. The prompt is fix the spelling, punctuation, grammar, and sentence structure of the text above and list what you changed. A lot of people will ask ChatGPT to fix the punctuation and grammar and write things better or whatever. But if they don't say, tell me what you changed, you've got to read through the whole thing trying to find out what it changed and where. So it's a very important addition. Yes, that's CatGPT for those who have problems with ChatGPT. Okay, so what can AI do for authors? Well, it can enhance the writing process. It can streamline writing tasks. AI-powered writing assistants help authors improve grammar, style, coherence, and they significantly reduce the time spent on editing and revising. AI can also do the editing. It can brainstorm ideas, titles, outlines, suggest plot and world developments, suggest character traits, and even entire story arcs and plot twists. It can serve as a creative partner that helps authors overcome writer's block, speed up their writing, and enrich their narratives. It can streamline the research process by quickly gathering, sorting, and synthesizing relevant information, allowing authors to focus more on writing and less on the laborious aspects of content verification and fact-checking. That said, do check, because AI can still make things up in its eagerness to please. So make sure you ask it to give the citations of where it got that information and check the citations as well. It's getting way better than it was even 2 or 3 months ago. So in the editing and publishing phase, it can provide real-time feedback on writing quality, suggesting improvements and corrections, particularly valuable in the initial editing phase. I was working with an author this morning, and he had written a chapter, and we asked Claude, which is one of the nicer ChatGPT alternatives, we asked it to read the chapter and come up with some suggestions of things that tell us what it thought of it, what it liked, what was good, what things could be improved, and then suggest some improvements. And it did. And interestingly enough, he liked the improvements. So that was fun. AI tools can automate the layout of text for different formats, e.g. ebooks, print, ensuring that the finished product is aesthetically pleasing and meets publishing standards. These are all things that could easily take a lot of time and have taken a lot of time in the past, and they're now super fast. It can analyze market trends and reader preferences, predicting which genres or themes or storytelling techniques are likely to resonate with audiences. And it allows authors to make more informed decisions about which books to publish and promote. In marketing, AI enables highly targeted and personalized marketing, ensuring that promotional materials reach the most relevant audience. It analyzes reader data to tailor marketing strategies, enhancing engagement and conversion rates. AI-driven chatbots and customer service tools can provide readers with recommendations, support, and engagement, enhancing the reader experience and building loyalty. And translation tools, AI-powered translation tools, can translate books into multiple languages much better now than in the past. They're remarkably good, the translations, opening up global markets for authors and publishers. So here's some tools. Some of these tools you'll be familiar with, some may be new to you. There's Grammarly, which offers grammar, punctuation, and style suggestions to improve the clarity and correctness of writing. Widely used tool. Novel Crafter comes with great outlining tools, revision history for your writing, tags and labels to keep track of your work, and more. Pseudo-Write, which Jason Hamilton, who's a very successful writer who uses AI a lot, he says about Pseudo-Write, hands down the best fiction writing AI on the market right now, walks you through creating outlines, characters, and drafts. And it has a rewrite tool that's great for improving description and showing versus telling. It's one of the top AI tools for writing fiction books and stories. Scribbler is considered the best AI-assisted novel writing software by the world's most innovative teams, authors, and creators. You'll notice they all say that they're the best. You have to try them out and see which is the best for you. So PaperPal, which I only found out about yesterday, looks very good. It's an AI writing assistant offering grammar checks, paraphrasing, predictive text, and plagiarism detection. There's a tool called Plotter, which aids in plotting stories using visual timelines that can be easily manipulated and organized, helping writers structure their narratives more effectively. Character Creator. It's an AI tool that helps generate detailed character profiles, including backstories, traits, and motivations, which can be customized by the writer. For research, there's Feedly, which just gives you a steady stream of tailored articles, news, and papers related to your interests or the current projects you're working on. Notion is a customizable note-taking tool, but it also has outlining, idea generation, collaborating with others, and numerous tools for writers built in. And in the editing and publishing, there's Vellum, primarily a formatting tool that makes it easier to create beautiful ebooks and print books. It uses some level of AI to automate the layout process, ensuring that the books meet publishing standards. Reedsy is basically an interface to connect authors with editors, designers, and marketers who are well suited to your particular project. Pro-Writing Aid is also popular. It provides detailed writing insights and suggestions for style improvements similar to Grammarly. And like I say, I'll give you, just send me an email. I'll give you my email address at the end, and I'll send you the slides so you don't have to try and write this all down or take photographs with your cameras. Scrivener is a powerful tool for organizing and managing large writing projects. It uses some and now increasing numbers of AI elements to help structure and format manuscripts. So we're going to take a look at publishing. And then we're going to take a look at self-publishing and then hybrid publishers. How many people here know what a hybrid publisher is? Okay, one. Okay, good. So these are not, of course, the only publishers. These are just some of the major ones. And they vary depending on the genre, market, and geographical location. However, these are some of the largest and most influential publishing houses. Penguin Random House. It's good for fiction, nonfiction, and children's books. Hachette, or however that's pronounced. US, with a strong presence in many areas of publishing. HarperCollins, one of the world's largest publishing companies, offering titles in nearly every conceivable genre. Now, HarperCollins got hacked recently, and one of my clients started receiving these letters or emails saying, "We love your work, we love your book, and we'd like to publish it. We are HarperCollins." And the interesting thing was this is supposed to be, a publisher of books, but the email was full of typos. It was like it was written by who knows who. I mean, it was like, what? And the names didn't make sense, and nothing, when checked, made any sense. And but my client was kind of, it tickled his vanity to be told such nice things about his book. So when they said, yes, and we can publish your book, and you only have to pay us $5,000. There's a lot of these so-called vanity press publishers. I'm going to cover a little bit more in a moment. But so HarperCollins, if you get something from HarperCollins, look at it very carefully. Macmillan Publishers, they publish a wide array of books. Simon & Schuster, of course. many genres, many bestsellers. Scholastic is the largest publisher and distributor of children's books. Now, they have extensive distribution networks and can offer significant marketing support, which is a big advantage for authors looking to reach a wide audience. But authors who want to publish themselves, there's several popular platforms that offer tools and services to help independently publish and distribute your work. There's Amazon Kindle, KDP, which most of you have heard of. It has some interesting disadvantages. It does offer worldwide distribution, but it takes a big chunk of your income. Barnes & Noble Press publishes ebooks and print-on-demand books, offering competitive royalty rates and distribution through the Barnes & Noble online store. Apple Books for authors. Authors can publish their books directly to Apple Books, reaching readers on iPhones, iPads, and Macs. So obviously it's particularly friendly for those with Mac computers. Kobo Writing Life. It's a self-publishing platform, and they distribute ebooks to a global audience through their own bookstore and partner sites. Smashwords, which many of you will have heard of, offers wide distribution network, major ebook retailers and libraries. Draft2Digital provides authors again with ebook and print-on-demand publishing services. So there's a lot to choose from. In fact, there's two more here. Lulu, which is particularly well-suited, well regarded for its print quality and its ability to produce hardcover books. Ingram Spark, another well-known one, is both digital and print through their bookstores and library distribution network. So they give authors various levels of control over pricing, royalties, marketing, allowing authors to choose the best fit for their publishing needs and goals. So you have to figure out, what do you want? And then look at which of these companies provide the things that you want, and be prepared to not compromise. Now, hybrid publishing. This is a model of book publishing that combines elements of traditional publishing and self-publishing. It offers a middle ground for authors who seek more control over their work than traditional publishing allows, and who want higher royalties and more support and services than self-publishing typically provides. It's essential to thoroughly vet hybrid publishers to ensure that they provide genuine, high-quality services. Many don't, and they're rip-off operations, or as I mentioned before, vanity presses, like this guy on the right. They charge you thousands up front, and they don't deliver. And here are some reputable hybrid publishing companies known for their quality and ethical practices. She Writes Press, Greenleaf Book Group, Girl Friday Productions, Spark Press, Archway Publishing, and here are some disreputable hybrid vanity press known for their poor quality and unethical practices. Author Solutions, which operates under numerous names, including Author House, Universe, Exliteribus or something, Trafford Publishing, Balboa Press. There's also Strategic Book Publishing and Rights Agency, which sounds very official, but is a vanity press, and Pegasus Elliott Mackenzie Publishers. So when evaluating hybrid publishers, look out for the following red flags: high upfront fees, excessive costs for basic publishing services, aggressive sales tactics, pressure to purchase additional, often unnecessary services. I know one poor lady who paid her $5,000 to get her book published, and then they kept adding all these things that she had to get to make it really work for her. By the time she was done, her $36,000 life savings was gone, and the book didn't do anything, wasn't even published. Oh. Yeah. Lack of transparency, vague contract terms and hidden fees, negative reviews, consistent negative feedback from authors and industry watchdogs. I use the site trustpilot.com a lot. It's very useful for checking out any company. For more information and resources, for more information and resources to identify reputable publishers, consider consulting organizations such as the Alliance of Independent Authors and Writers Beware. Audiobooks. Audiobooks have become increasingly popular. And there are several key platforms where authors can publish and distribute their audiobooks. Most people know about Audible's ACX, and it's one of the most popular for audiobook publishing. Because I've got a recording studio and video studios, I get to record a lot of audiobooks, and I've learned the horrors of what ACX demands of their audio files in order to accept them. And I've had to build custom plugins to get around that and make sure that the audio files do pass, because most time when people record their audiobook first time and they have to then cut it up into separate chapters and send all of those separate files up for approval, and they come back unapproved. And the unfortunate thing is they have this bizarre system whereby when you improve one thing, it ruins another. And it's very frustrating unless you know how to handle it. So ACX has its drawbacks. An alternative to ACX is Findaway Voices. That also includes Audible and some other people, but they don't have the same stringent requirements. There's also Kobo Writing Life, Google Play Books, Authors Republic, and each of the platforms offers different terms and services. So it's essential, like I said before, to consider your specific needs in terms of production support, distribution range, royalty rates, and marketing capabilities when choosing an outlook for your audiobooks. And here's a website that gives 16 alternatives to Audible for ethical audiobook lovers. So there's no shortage of audiobook places. I mentioned earlier that I'd created some tools for all sorts of different things, for marketing and for artists, etc. I've created some specifically for authors. One of my favorites and one of my author clients' favorites is Authors Ally. And one of the fun things I mentioned earlier, the new version of ChatGPT that came out last Monday, the free version now allows anybody, 100 million people, to use these tools, whereas before it was limited to the 1 million that had paid for ChatGPT. So this is based on the fact that writers are usually great at writing, but when their book is finished, then what? So Authors Ally is a career self-publishing and marketing system for authors to help them with their careers and their marketing. It's cut off the bottom of the slide, so I think that's what it said. I'm not going to read this. There's a testimonial here that of an author who loves it. Another subject that comes up is book covers. What about creating book covers? How many people here have used AI for generating images? Oh, not many. Okay, well, the ones who have used it for generating images, have you run into the difficulties of where you ask for something and it adds stuff that you didn't ask for, it changes things, it misses things, and you have to go back and forth. And sometimes you can waste hours trying to get exactly what you're looking for. Do you come across that? Yeah, me too. So here's a prompt which would really topple any traditional AI image art generator. It's a fascinating family portrait of a solid matte red sphere Christmas present perched atop the blue cube wrapped as a Christmas present with a vivid green Christmas tree standing behind them with a green cloth wrapped around its base. A curious dog is positioned on the right and a cute cat lounges on the left. So I'm going to show you what the different image generators do with that prompt, and then I'm going to show you the solution. So here's Leonardo. So you'll see that it's added an extra cat here. The red sphere that's supposed to be up here, the dog's there instead, and it's not wrapped as a Christmas present. In other words, it hasn't done what we asked, right? So here is DALL-E 3, which is built into ChatGPT. Again, our red sphere is blue, it's not up here, the dog is not on the right, etc., etc. Now, Midjourney, which is the Rolls Royce, the king, the granddaddy of image generation, it decides to put an extra cat on top of the red ball. And the red ball is not wrapped as a Christmas present. And who knows what this cat and this dog in a blanket is. I mean, it's wild. So anyway, that's Leonardo. So luckily for us, more recently, a new tool came out called Ideogram. And I'll show you what Ideogram does with that prompt. You see, cat and dog, the Christmas wrapped sphere. In other words, it follows the prompt in both versions exactly. So it saves a lot of time. And here are some book covers that a friend and client of mine who'd spent 2 to 3 months trying to get his book covers done and tearing his hair out. And he did half a dozen in like half an hour, I think. So it did these for him. So it's called ideogram.ai, ideogram.ai. And it's become my go-to for image generation.
And it's free, isn't it?
It is. You can actually do 1,200 images per month. Yeah, they're very generous. And you can choose, numerous different styles of how you want it to do. Now, before going into the next part, which is the more controversial part, AI doesn't replace authors. Instead, it's kind of a junior writing partner, a productivity assistant tool to enable authors to excel even further. The outputs from AI are only as good as the data it was trained on and the inputs, the prompts that you write. AI models may inadvertently replicate biases present in their training data or produce less accurate outputs for underrepresented topics or styles. So you should always check what it writes and not just accept it. Now, the nerdy novelist is a guy who's written and published numerous books and who worked for the last 2 years at Kindlepreneur, teaching people how to self-publish books. According to him, most of the how to write a book using AI videos on YouTube are absolute nonsense from people who haven't written a book in their lives. Writing is a multi-step process, and you use AI for the parts of the writing process that you don't enjoy. And you use specialized tools and chatbots like Claude 3 or ChatGPT for helping you write your fiction and nonfiction. Now, I'm going to demonstrate here this concept that's known as the fractal or snowflake technique, which is a small idea expands into something larger. And you take that something into something even larger and keep doing that until you have a fully fleshed out manuscript. And then you flush it out with a synopsis and a 3-part act. And I'm going to show you how we can do that with ChatGPT. And we're going to use Poe. Poe is a kind of aggregator of all the GPTs like ChatGPT. And I'm going to continue with Google because, oh no, it's Howard's laptop. Oh no. Howard, can we use your Google to get in?
I don't have an account for share.
No, you don't need one. Okay, we got in. Thanks, Howard. We are now Howard. So you'll see here that we have ChatGPT 4.0, but we also have Gemini and Claude, all versions, and DALL-E, and all the different tools so we can compare side by side the output from the different ChatGPTs. Now I'm going to choose Claude because I like Claude. And I'm going to choose Claude Sonnet. And I'm going to ask it to give me 10 ideas for news stories set within a 1920s New York setting that could be used as the basis for a hard-boiled detective story.
Wow.
So it actually asked me, which of these do I think would make the most compelling? And then can you provide more details about this, that, and the other? How would the detective go about, etc.? So I'm going to choose one of them. Somebody said number 6?
Yeah, Jimmy.
All right, number 6. Okay. Now look at that. You guys chose number 6. And my prompt knew that you were going to choose number 6. Please flesh out number 6 into a full synopsis with a 3-act structure.
Wow.
Now, I'm sorry that it's so slow, but so it's now fleshed out basic into a 3-act story synopsis for Union Racketeer Rubout, which is the name of this particular book. So now I'm going to go to the next stage. I'm going to say, please take Act 1, because we've got 3 acts. And I'm going to say, take Act 1 and flesh it out, expand it into a larger series of chapters. So now it's broken Act 1 into a bunch of different chapters. So far it's given us 6 chapters. Remember that I mentioned that you start with something small and then you make it bigger, and you make it bigger and you make it bigger. That's what we're doing here. And then I'm going to say, okay, please take chapter 1 and expand it into a larger series of beats. Now, if you don't know what a beat is, I didn't actually. It's any particular action that starts, changes, and stops, and then there's the next action, and there's the next action. And you can have multiple beats within one chapter. You know, Fred looks out the window. Doris hits him with a cricket bat. I mean, those are 2 different beats. So let's go back to Claude and say, okay, please take chapter 1 and expand it into a larger series of beats. So it's broken down chapter 1, which is already broken down from the 3-act synopsis. And now it's broken it down into a whole bunch of beats, 7 beats. And then, for instance, we might look at Act 1 and feel it's too generic or it's lacking creativity. So we could say, please brainstorm 5 ways to make the opening hook, which is the opening part of chapter 1, more creative. So you guys getting the idea of some of the things you can do as authors?
Yeah.
I can see why the screenwriters are a little nervous.
Right. Well, this is the good side. This is the good part of it. In a minute, we're going to look at the bad side of it. So it comes up with 5 alternate ideas that are kind of more compelling and more interesting, and more visceral and cinematic or interesting openings for the reader. And we could choose one of those or say, no, give me 10 more, or whatever it might be. Now that's actually, let me go a little bit further. I'm going to say thank you, because I like to be polite to my AIs, just in case. No, AIs have been very good to me over the last 25 years. So I'm going to say thank you. Please write the first 500 words of this chapter. Now, this is all very well, but there is a caveat coming up, which I'm going to cover in a moment. But it basically can write the whole thing. Not that you, as a creative writer, would necessarily accept what it wrote, but it would give you ideas. Now, it's interesting that you can also apply the same thing to nonfiction books. You can say, thank you. Please give me a list of 30 possible chapters for a book about intermittent fasting.
About what time?
Intermittent fasting.
Okay.
And, pardon?
Intermittent fasting. Every 12 hours.
Yeah, it's short-term fasting in spurts of fasting. Like, fasting between 10 a.m. and 10:15. Yeah, a.m., right. I'm very good at that one. Okay, so we've got our 30 ideas, and we could take some of them or all of them or none of them. And you check that they're topics you have familiarity with and want to write about, and you choose the chapters you want and their ideal order. And then you can say, please give me a list of topics to cover in what's chapter 7? Alternate day fasting. Okay, what the hell? So I'm saying, please give me a list of topics to cover in chapter 7. So now it's giving you all the topics that could be covered in that chapter. So it saves a tremendous amount, or it can save a tremendous amount of time. And then I'm going to show one more thing, which is kind of a repeat of what we did before. I'm going to say, thank you. Please write the first 500 words of this chapter 7. And it's going to take all those parts that it came up with, and it's writing the first 500 words. Or you could say 1,000 words or 2,000 words or whatever you wanted. So you get the idea. It's pretty powerful stuff. And it's getting better all the time in terms of the quality of what it's producing. However,
Is Poe part of chat
oh,
GPT? Part of,
no, it's an aggregator that pulls together all the different GPTs.
okay. Oh, wow.
It is also the name of my son's favorite Teletubby.
Teletubby?
Yes.
Well, that's worthy indeed. Okay, so we're back in here. Oh, and it says Howard is talking.
You show up as PBTC.
I know.
So are you saying that the writer with limited talent, but good prompt and computer skills can be a great author?
No, and you'll see why in a moment. That's exactly what we're going to be covering now. Now, I'm going to show you the 7 prompts that you can use to write a book. Although, like I say, we're going to look into the caveats as soon as we've gone through these. So number 1 is the brainstorming prompt. You use it to generate ideas, especially focusing on a premise and an ending for the story so that the AI knows how to create the arc and how to get from one end to the other. It can take various forms, and the author emphasizes the importance of knowing where the story is going. So give me 10 ideas for the premise for a novel about whatever, which we just did, right? So you saw that. And then you say, give me 10 ideas for the ending for a novel about the same thing. Then there's the synopsis prompt. This prompt helps in creating a detailed synopsis for the story, which we did with our acts. So given the following premise and story information, give me a highly detailed synopsis for a story, and you give the genre there, in the tradition of 3-act structure, which we did. Each act should be clearly labeled and should build towards the ending that I've described. Then you've got the outlining prompt. This is used to create a detailed outline of the story. Breaking it down into parts or chapters, it can be tailored to a specific outlining method, such as the 24-chapter novel outline, which is a kind of known outline format. I had to ask it and I had Claude give me an example of a 24-chapter, and all it was preface, 22 chapters, and epilogue. So using the following synopsis, create a detailed summary of the story, fleshing out additional details and breaking it into parts using the outline method of choice, e.g. hero's journey. The character prompt. This is used to write character profiles, including details about the protagonist, antagonist, or mentor. It can include physical descriptions, backstories, and other character-specific information. So write a character profile about the protagonist of the novel, insert the synopsis there. Here's what we know so far about the character, insert current summary of character. And next to the prompt window, there's a plus sign. You just click on that, and that's where you insert, or you can put it, punch in the whole stuff, or you can put it in the prompt as we are here. Include the following elements, insert desired elements here. So, number 5 of the 7, the story beats prompt. It helps in developing the beats for each chapter, providing a detailed action plan for the script. It emphasizes specificity and the use of proper nouns. Take the following chapter summary and generate a list of 12 highly detailed action beats for a script with additional story information to fully flesh out the chapter. Make sure to always use proper nouns instead of pronouns. Add chapter 1, etc., etc. Style prompt. This prompt is more personalized and can vary widely. It helps in defining the writing style, including aspects like point of view, dialogue, verbs, conflict, and description. It can be crafted to include or exclude specific writing techniques. First person, past point of view, insert character's name, don't show, tell. Deep point of view, realistic dialogue, strong verbs, lots of conflict, drama, and description. Avoid mushy descriptions and dialogues. Make it visual. I mean, you can put whatever you want. You're the writer. And then constructing the prose prompt. The final prompt is used to construct the prose of the story. That's where we said, give me the first 500 or 1,000 words of this story. It's used to write the actual text of the chapters, guided by the previous prompts. So you say, write 1,000 words of a chapter using the following details: genre, tone, point of view, setting, key characters, story beats to cover. Give it 2 or 3 at a time. Now, the important thing, and this goes to your question, use this as a guide, but make it your own. And AI excels at generating well-organized text, and this is the answer to why it doesn't make anyone into a brilliant writer overnight. You've got to have some basic talent to start with. Nonfiction is kind of different. You'll see why in a second. AI excels at generating well-organized text based on human input, but it falls short when it comes to independently crafting an entire book. A significant challenge arises when writers lack proficiency in the artistic disciplines of writing and storytelling. Without those essential skills, they cannot exert appropriate creative influence over the AI-generated text. They may not even be able to recognize that it's not good. Inadequate prompts from an unskilled writer will inevitably lead to flawed output from the AI system. The quality of the AI's performance is inextricably linked to the expertise and guidance provided by the human writer. Also, the AI lacks the life experiences and personality that color and add great flavor to a human's writing. And now we're going to go into the real warnings, I think. Yeah. So this section is called Warnings, Take Heed. Currently, there are few rules and laws about AI-generated content. Since this is making my slides very strange, I'm going to move this out of the way. And I'm also going to see if I can get this moved up. Yeah, okay. Currently, there are few rules and laws about AI-generated content. The laws are unclear, and publishers and legal entities like the Copyright Office can interpret them differently, and they do. You'll find that, some publishers will accept AI content, some won't, some will with specific warnings and caveats. So in the absence of clear unified laws and guidelines, which are changing all the time, there's quite a bit of variance in how different organizations, including publishers, are currently interpreting and applying existing copyright and intellectual property laws, and even ownership rights to AI-generated content. In AI-generated cover design, it would be prudent to modify the design to make it significantly different. This may or may not become necessary, we'll see, but it would be a safety thing. Since laws will likely change in the future, it's advisable to err on the side of caution for now to prevent your books from being pulled and your accounts being terminated. Some potential consequences are legal action and fines if found liable for copyright infringement. Publishers and self-publishers may have to pay substantial monetary damages to the copyright owners. Injunctions could result in having to pull publications' products from the market. That's why I said it's so important when you get the AI to help you with ideas. And if you do get it to write, the first 500 words of a chapter, change it to you and your style. I'm going to show you in a minute how to do that. But yeah, make it your own, because you're the guy with the experience, or the girl with the experience, the life stories, the personality, everything that makes you uniquely you and your stories uniquely yours. Statutory damages. Copyright laws allow copyright holders to collect statutory damages, which can add up to $150,000 per work infringed upon. Reputational damage. Being sued for copyright violation can severely tarnish a publisher's and author's reputation and credibility, and may make other rights holders hesitant to license content to them in the future. Essentially, the consequences boil down to major financial losses from lawsuits and fines, product removals, and a heavily damaged public reputation, which could cripple many publishing companies and authors. This highlights the importance of publishers and self-publishers being extremely cautious about copyright compliance with AI. So, how do you train it on your style? This is a very, very simple but incredibly effective way. I tried it. I did this exact thing, and my jaw dropped at the night and day of what I saw. These prompts are called persona prompts, and they're used to train the AI to act like a certain person, in this case, you. So prompt 1 is, here is a recent article I've written, and you click the plus button and add in your article in your style. Find an article that really exemplifies your style of writing. Analyze my tone, how I form sentences and paragraphs, the level of detail I use in explanations, the amount of humor I use, how often I ask the reader questions, the readability level I use, the vocabulary I use, and the amount of emotion I convey in my writing, and anything else you want it to analyze. Then it'll do that, and it will give an analysis of your writing. And I found it to be kind of kind and generous in analyzing one's writing. It really looks for the pluses. And then you say, okay, give me a 200-word summary of what you've learned. And now, based on the writing style analyzed from the provided article, create content entitled, you insert the title at number of words you want. Ensure that the new content strictly adheres to the author's writing style in terms of tone, structure, and approach, as identified in the analysis. You could also put in the 500 words chapter that you previously got and say, rewrite that in my voice. And 20 seconds, 30 seconds later, you have it rewritten sounding like you. And I did it, and I was stunned, because the original one came out, obviously written by an AI or written by a kind of boring person or whatever. And then I said, okay, now do these steps and then write it in the style of my writing. And it did. And it was night and day. And I thought, wow, this is cool. And it is. Oh, wow. Okay, I'm going to skip this slide because it's all over the place. Oh, this one too. These are just a couple of tools that I've created for authors. And in fact, if you go, let's see. That's Arthur, my custom bot at my site. He helps people, answers questions about me, my products and services, and the website. This is something where a guy's written a book on public speaking, and we've trained the AI website companion on the entire book, and readers can ask questions about the book and anything about the book and get really deep interaction with it. But what I'm going to do is just let you know, if you want to take a look at some of those things, go to personalcustomgpts.com and you can try a lot of these things out for free and see what you think, including the author's tools. Now, before we wrap up and have questions and answers, a lot of people say, well, we've heard that 300 million jobs in the States, or actually, I think it's more than the States, are going to be lost or heavily diminished by AI. And we're seeing it happen already. Not that many already, but a lot. People are being replaced by AI. And so how do we avoid that? Well, those of you who've been to my other seminars kind of know, basically it has to do with embracing this technology, studying it, it's not difficult, and learning how to use it, and being one of the guys who can go for a job and say, hey, I'm skilled at AI. And that more and more jobs now are demanding AI as a part of the job curriculum. Anyway, no matter what your views on AI might be, there's no denying that it will majorly impact your life, and already has, in ways that you may not even be aware of. AI is not going away. AI is merely a tool to assist the creative genius of humans and artists. It's a tool that can shorten the gap between inspiration and result. Artists and humans are alive. AI is not. No matter how much Elon Musk would like to believe that AI is going to become alive, it's not. That's a whole other story. I'm going to write a LinkedIn article on that fairly soon. It's going to be called Sorry, Elon. Anyway, an artist can look at a Midjourney generated work and see how to improve it or make it his own. The CEO of NVIDIA said these tools aren't a replacement for human creativity. They augment the skills of artists and marketing professionals to help them feed demand from clients by producing content more quickly and in multiple forms to different audiences. And AI can amplify and supercharge creative people and make their lives easier. Some creative professional artists feel that AI gives them superpowers, enables them to take their art to a whole new level. So here's a guy who said, I'm an art director, graphic designer. I stumbled into AI and generative art about 3 months ago. At first, I thought I'd been made completely redundant. But thankfully, as I dove into using AI, I realized it's just another tool. And it is. It's just a tool. It's just an evolution of a writing tool and an image tool and a video tool. And he says, I realize it's just another tool. And if it's placed in the hands of a skilled user, it has incredible potential. AI gave me superpowers. I created a mock campaign for Osprey backpacks to pitch them for graphic design work super quickly using generative art and AI, and I just got my first design project with them. While AI can certainly aid in the creative process by generating ideas or suggesting alternative approaches, it will never be able to replace the uniquely human element of artistic expression fully. Human imagination and individuality are what drive true innovation in any artistic field. AI is likely to be used by artists, musicians, and other creators, mainly to the extent that it suits the needs of their creative process. But like with any technology, evil people can use it for evil deeds, and good people can use it for good. Luckily, good people are the majority. Even if it doesn't always seem that way, they are. So the final thing is, if you want a copy of the slides, email me. Don't put it in the chat, you Zoomers. Email me at that email address. You can also ask for a free AI consulting session where I'll sit down with you, either in person or via Zoom, and take a look at which AI tools could really help you and how to use them and how AI could benefit your life and or company. So now I'm going to find the chat window and start answering the questions that are in the chat, if there are. Yes, I think there are some. And then we'll go into the room here and answer questions here. Okay, Ruth McCartney says, will there be a playback recording available afterwards? We're definitely hoping so. I told it to record. Okay, I'm just scanning through all the comments to find questions. Oh, thank you. Karen says, Tony's Author's Ally is the best choice I've made this year. Thank you, Karen. Okay, Yildiz says, AI can write books in different languages? Yes, absolutely. How do you stay on top of the new AI programs available? Says Bonnie Dye. Well, I subscribe to a number of newsletters that every day give me updates. And also I go on YouTube every night, and there's a few people I follow, like Matt Wolf and uh, um, Curious Refuge and Tim somebody from another strange named place, and Matt. There's just 4 or 5 people who constantly keep on top of this stuff and keep us on top of it, which is really good. Jennifer McLean says, what's the best AI tool for writing articles? I like Claude 3 a lot. I like ChatGPT for some things. I like Gemini for some things. Gemini is more for kind of keyword research because it's very tied in with Google. I like the writing style that Claude comes up. Can AI read the first few chapters and last few chapters, then outline the middle few? Absolutely. Okay, so here's my email address. Can one copyright AI written book article? Well, according to the Copyright Office in US Copyright Office in March, you cannot copyright something created by a machine. Then they changed that in August to you can't copyright the content created by the AI, but you can copyright your part in it. In other words, the prompt that you wrote, and if you change it up and all that kind of stuff. How they're going to figure out that is beyond me. So at the end, right, at the end of August, they started kind of an open discourse with artists on how best to sort this out. So it's really changing. Funnily enough, and that's America. A couple of months back, China announced you can copyright AI content. So you can in China. Now, China being on the internet is a hop, skip, and jump away. So theoretically, you could do your work in China on the web and then bring it back to the States. I'm not recommending that, but it's pretty weird. It's a kind of wild, wild west. Okay, so a question in the room here was, is the current ChatGPT 4.0 up to date in terms of the internet, or is it still only trained up until December 2023, like ChatGPT 4.0, the other paid version? Yeah, they're both trained up until December 2023, but ChatGPT has a built-in browser. And I had a long talk with ChatGPT recently about this. And I had been told that the name of that browser was WebPilot. And it said, no, the browser is just called browser. And then I asked it for what would be the prompts to use that would make sure you used your browser tool to get current, up-to-date information. And it gave me some prompts to do that. So if you just let it know that you want current, up-to-date information and that it should use its, quote, browser tool, you'll get up-to-date information. Okay. Okay, Shay says, in one of your previous classes, you said I could use AI to answer emails. I tried to figure out how and couldn't figure it out. There's actually a lot of different plugins now and Chrome extensions and different tools designed to do just that. You can look, I can't really cover that right now, but you could email me and I can go into more detail. Tim Condon, oh, hey, Tim, haven't seen you in a while. Great. The whole subject makes Tim very uneasy. Indeed. It could have the possibility of making everything kind of counterfeit or phony or bogus. Yeah, the whole deep fake thing is definitely a dark side to AI that we have to be very careful of and concerned about. Okay, Herman, who is German, says, Michael, I don't know the answer why Google Translate to German is not that good, but I know that Claude AI gives much better translations, often brilliant. So that's the answer of that. Okay, Bob Moore, send me that question in an email so that I can send you what you're asking for. Right, so most of you in Zoom probably couldn't hear any of that. But what that was Michael Crows was saying that when you get a book translated into another language, you need to be very, very sure that it's translated correctly, or you could get into serious trouble and lose your account and have things taken off the market and stuff. So he knows a couple of writers that happened to. Okay, I'm just going to.
I'm multilingual, so I prove myself translate from English in other. Italian was good, the Russian was so good, Romanian was not good translation, so it's good.
Which was good?
Italian.
Oh,
was
okay.
Good translation
Okay.
from English.
Someone in the audience says that she speaks 96 languages and lots of languages.
Yeah.
And she checked the Italian. The Italian was really good. The Russian and Ukrainian, not so. Stephen People says, if I train it to write in my style, but it's still from the bot and I want to publish it, would I be liable because the bot was trained on others' IP? Not as far as I know, as long as it's written in your style and you've rewritten it to make it your own. Shay says, what was my offer? Free session with you if we send an email. Yes, if you request that. Patrick Gay says, can you give us some good resources on intellectual property? Well, there's two. There's Google and there's, of course, ChatGPT. These days, anything I want to know, I ask ChatGPT because it's becoming remarkably good, particularly 4.0. I mean, 4.0 with a small o. Okay, so that's all the questions in the chat. Any questions in the room?
Everyone. I'm in the process of writing a book, How to Delete Your Bad Karma Before It Deletes You. And
What?
how to delete your bad karma before it deletes you. Yeah, so it's a book about 14,000 words. I'm still in the process of writing it. Before I give the tools that I've used myself to delete bad karma, I write about 10,000 words about how I accumulated my bad karma in the past. Now I put it in ChatGPT, and they sometimes say, well, this is not acceptable. You know, they are not doing anything with it because there are some too naughty things in it. So how do I get around? Because I want to have it in good English and you know, as readable as possible.
Okay, so when we went to Poe has all these other GPTs, and many of them are what is called open source, which means they have no restrictions, such as the commercial ones have.
Okay.
I think Mistral is one. Mistral is definitely open source. There's lots of them, and you can try those ones out for that.
Good.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Tony, one of the things that was supposed to be with the new ChatGPT was that it now remembers you and remembers things that you said.
If you tell it.
That was my question. I hadn't tried it yet. So
yeah, you tell it. I want you to remember this, or I want you to remember that. I want you to forget this.
and
it's new and it's a little bit buggy.
okay. I'm also guessing that if you don't want it to remember, because that you can also see that it won't remember.
Yeah, if you tell it not to.
That part works really good for outfit.
When you get something from ChatGPT and you want to print it, how do you print it? I asked ChatGPT to make me a table, and it made a table. And I said, "Well, copy that into Excel for me." He said, "No, I can't do that." I said, "Print it." He said, "I can't do that."
Well, there's a copy icon at the bottom. You click on the copy icon and you paste it somewhere else.
In ChatGPT.
Yeah. Okay, next question.
I just, listening to this, and I think you did a great job on the beginning when you talked about disruptive technology, and that's been a history of human race for the most part, which is AI is here to stay. I mean, there's never been a technology that has been developed and went away until something better replaced it. I mean, so I don't see, I think we've got a lot of bugs to work out, but I think AI is part of our lives.
Oh, absolutely.
And watching you put together on Poe that story, actually, the way I looked at it is that is now your creation. You came up with the ideas and the prompts, and all it did was like the legwork, but that was your product. And I don't see that as something that's necessarily bad, for anybody who's writing stuff. You're giving it the guidance and it's doing the legwork.
Yeah, I think you'd have to make significant changes.
And how would anybody know that wasn't yours anyway? Because to me, it is yours.
Well, they're using AI tools now to figure that out. Okay, next question. Oh, I didn't know you were here, Dave. Hi.
Thanks, by the way, coming out, sharing your time. Folks, I can't tell you, I've gone in for personal consultation. I don't know what your deal is, but take advantage of it. Who's the guru? He gives me $2 for saying that.
Thanks.
Who would you use? I was trying to help this lady, get her house fixed. Got some construction issues with the city plans and stuff. And I'd like to come up with something to give her new blueprints. If there's such a program, you recommend an audio book from, your book to audio. Is that something another program you would recommend?
I had a client last week who's a designer, an architectural designer. So we just went into ChatGPT and said, how can AI help with that area? And it said it can do this, and then it said, and there are some tools. And I said, what tools? And it gave me all these tools. And then it said, and here's a page that gives you 20 other tools that can help. So there's a lot of stuff out there for blueprints. And
I tried it. It gave me some floor plans on another house some time ago. It's just kind of hokey, though.
It's getting better all the time.
Yeah, that was months ago.
Yeah, yeah.
Now,
well, months in AI land is like centuries.
and the book to audio, is there such a thing? You can take your file and then throw it somewhere and they can give you a voice.
They can. I don't personally like them, but your mileage may vary. There's a lot of them doing that now, and the voice quality is getting ridiculously difficult to tell that it's AI, whereas a year ago it was the exact opposite.
I got an idea of exactly what I want, so we'll see.
Yep.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Hey, Tony, this is Yildiz. I keep thinking how AI will segment itself, because at this point it looks like it is segmenting as audiobook, fiction book, but it is more process oriented. I am wondering when it will become more content oriented way specialized. Will there be different AI apps to do that?
Well, there's currently almost 5,000 different AI apps. They're getting more and more specialized every day. And if you don't find one you like, you can now build it yourself, which is at the seminar I give on that subject of custom AI assistants. I've built more than almost 90 of them now for all sorts of different things that I wanted to have it do for me and for clients.
But the thing in my head that I am stuck with, how can one source know everything? So all those apps are based on one source. Am I making sense?
Well, the one source is the entirety of the internet and everything it's learned from interactions with people since then. Okay. It's not everything, but it's more than most of us know.
That's true. I'll think about it more. Thank you.
Okay. Now, there's a question here in the chat. Following to my previous IP question, if it writes in my style, but accesses anything from AI, would there be a watermark on my story? Well, you can tell it to have a watermark or not. It's your choice. Oh yeah, Herman said it also includes a ton of books, all books in the Library of Congress, plus millions more. Okay. Thank you. You're very welcome.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and it's gonna come to fun.
Okay, so we're going to wrap. What?
Yeah, I'm inspiring writer. Wrote a couple of short stories and changed the names and changed it seems to just change the names and faces to protect the innocent. Keep writing, just keep writing and don't want to say the same time. How do you change? How do you get it?
Sorry, can you ask that again? I didn't quite follow that.
Short stories with different subject matter or use different names, but it keeps writing in the same style. It's like I'm just.
Have you told it not to? Just tell it. You can use natural language. Treat it as a person, how you would tell another person. Hey, don't keep writing in the same style. I want a different style. Give me a style like X or whatever. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, the guys in the chat who are saying nice things.
Thank you, Tony.
Yeah, really.
Oh, thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Tony. It was a great show.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank
Yep.
you.
Thanks, Tony. Thanks
Yeah,
to the
I'm
Tampa
going to
Bay
close this
folks
now.
for hosting.